Hey y'all, today I'm going to share a few of the ways that I teach the element of art line in my classroom. Most of my curriculum is built around the elements of art, and line is probably the easiest one to start with. So to begin with, a line is just a dot that's going somewhere. It has a direction, it's going on a walk, it's a line that continues through space. And there are lots of different ways that we can show line. It could be a straight line, it could be a dashed or dotted line, it could be a wavy or a curving line, it could be jagged or zigzag. So when I start with my kindergartners, I often show or read the book Lines That Wiggle by Candace Whitman, and you can find videos of this online, readings of it, and it's a great way to start. And then as a class, we go through and we name the different types of lines that we noticed. And then we moved on to a project, and you've probably seen this online if you've been around Art Threads at all. You can use a permanent marker or a crayon and do a crayon resist and some watercolors. You could mix that up if you don't have one of those materials. So after we've read or watched the video of the reading of Lines That Wiggle, we name some of the lines. So we might have a straight line, we might have a dashed or dotted line, we might have a squiggly line, we might have a wavy line or bumpy line, we might have a jagged line, and we fill those across our paper. And I go through that as a class and we each draw them together. And then after they're finished with their lines, they're going to go in with some watercolors and kind of paint in stripes so that each color kind of transitions around where they do their lines. Kindergartners seem to really like this, and it's really helpful as an introductory assignment for art. Okay, if we want to mix it up a little bit and go on to some upper grades or first grade and up, we're going to start with a line that curves and overlaps. So after introducing or reviewing the elements of art line, I'm going to have everyone draw a line that curves and overlaps that creates some different shapes on their paper. And you want to have 6 to 8 different shapes in that. Something that we want to avoid is a line that looks like this, that's really scribbly and overlapping, because that's going to be hard to do. Okay, then you can use, continue on with your marker. You could use crayon for this. You could use watercolor crayons or whatever. But we're going to fill each of these spaces with some different types of lines. So we might have like a zigzag or jagged line. And I'm using the watercolor crayons for this, and you'll see why in a minute. But you could really use anything. You could use marker if you wanted to. And then I'm going to switch colors, and I do a different type of line, maybe like a bumpy line. And what I end up with is something like this. Now, because I used watercolor crayons, when I went over the top of that crayon with just a brush and some water, this is great if you don't have a sink in your room, or you maybe have limited sink access, but you want to give the option to sort of have a painting project, is that you add the water to those watercolor crayons, and it creates this really nice effect. Okay, moving up in grades and experience level, we're going to use this same concept, but then we're going to make it a little more complicated. This is kind of looking more like a Zentangle, if you're familiar with that type of drawing. And so we're adding more detail, we're adding more lines. And if you're doing this as a project that you're going to assess, some of the things that you can look for is how many different types of lines did you use? Do you have a lot of variety? Are you avoiding scribbles? And so then once they've drawn their lines, and we use permanent marker for this most of the time, then they can start coloring. And you can use a mixture. I used some colored pencils here and some markers. You could use watercolors. You could use whatever you have available to you. But here are a few ways to teach the element of art line and mix it up for different grades and ability levels. Okay, have fun.